Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Monotui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our PPL Season 5 Week 3 match versus RubyMarrow, coach of the Cleveland Bros. So this is going to be like super unprofessional, and I hope you're used to that if you've watched my channel for a while. Not only is this going up a day late, this is going to be from the perspective of Ruby. Basically, we played our game over the weekend, and then my plan was to record it Monday and have it up by Monday. But I totally forgot to send my battle code to somebody to record it, and I didn't bring my DS with me, so I didn't have the battle code, so I couldn't get my perspective, so I'm just gonna use Ruby's, and because, and I also don't even have his perspective. I'm literally just recording this off of the YouTube video that he uploaded very recently, so if you want to check out his channel, here it is, I'll link it in the description below. Regardless, for a rundown of our team, we have our specially defensive Klefki, Spikes, T-Wave, Flash Cannon, and Magnet Rise. Magnet Rise is going to be very useful for things like the Mammoth as well as possibly the Scolipede. We have physical defensive Swampert, relatively standard Earthquake, Scald, Stealth Rock, and Roar. Roar is going to be useful for some of his range sweepers. Also, if I'm able to hazard stack his team, phasing things out is going to be very nice because everything takes rocks and spikes, and except for Pelipper, who doesn't take spikes, but it still takes rocks super effectively, which is nice. Then we have a sub 3 attacks Victini that can put in a lot of work versus this team. It subs up versus the Ferrothorn, it can sub up versus a Scolipede Protect, it can sub up versus the Meloetta possibly, certain things like that, even like versus a Pelipper that doesn't want to take a Bolt Strike. We have fully special defensive Licky Licky with Wish, Protect, Fire Blast, and Toxic. That's going to be able to basically get a Toxic onto everything on his team, and the two things that I can't Toxic, being the Ferrothorn and the Scolipede, I will be able to hit with super effective Fire Blast. Then we have our Swords Dance, Power Herb, Sky Attack, Halucha with 3 attacks, Sky Attack, High Jump Kick, Acrobatics, Swords Dance. That can definitely sweep his team as soon as I get rid of that Manos line, which is going to be very nice. After I get my Unburden, I will be able to outspeed Kingdra in the rain, which is really, really nice. And then for the last member of our team, especially defensive Gliscor, kind of meant to, with Taunt, as well as Earthquake, kind of just deal with this team. It also has Thunderfang in order to hit that Pelipper as well. So that's actually a very good thing versus his team. It's able to hit a lot of his team. It's able to wall a good majority of his team as well. Can beat the Ferrothorn, can beat most Scolipede, can possibly beat the Meloetta depending on what it is. So that's the team. I'm also going to be speeding this video up. Oh, his video's on. Hello, sorry. Ruby, I gotta make you be quiet. But we're going to have this video going at 1.5 times speed because it's a relatively long one. And yeah, regardless, let's just get into it. I guess Ruby's side has better graphics than mine, so that's good at least. Remember, I'm on the other side. Ignore everything that's going on here. But I'm in front of this Pelipper with Klefki, and I am just going to start setting up my spikes. This thing could... Oh, that's right, yeah. I am just going to start by getting up my first layer of spikes. This thing could have defog on it, but regardless, I want to force him to go for that, and I'm gonna take the Scald relatively well as well. Except for the part where he crits me turn 1, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm still not in range of another Scald unless he crits me a second time in a row. But what I want to do is just Thunderwave this Pelipper in case he's fast, or in case he's, in case he has a lot of speed and he can outspeed things like my Gliscor or whatnot. I want to be able to slow this thing down, which is very nice. We are going to be able to take that next Scald, which is very nice, but because I want to keep my Klefki around for possible T-waving on the Kingdra and whatnot, I'm just going to switch out into my Licky Licky, and I don't have a way to hit this thing because I just paralyzed it, which maybe was a mistake on my part, but regardless, having this thing paralyzed is very, very nice. And now what I'll be able to do is just go for a Wish and then pull a switch out into something else that can possibly deal with this Pelipper. We're going to take the Scald relatively well. We are fully specially defensive, so I'll be able to take it easily. We are Oblivious instead of Cloud9, which I debated running, but I decided to run Oblivious just so that he couldn't taunt me with a few things on his team. He's going to crit burn me on this turn. The crit doesn't really matter because the Wish is going to bring me back to pretty much full health. The burn does kind of suck, however, because my Earthquake's going to be weakened, and that makes Kingdra a little bit more of a problem. Not that this is my Kingdra check, but what I will be able to do is go for rocks with my Swampert, and what this allows me to do is basically bait him going for the defog so that I can go out into my Victini. As you can see here, he's gonna get fully paralyzed, which is nice because I'm almost positive he's gonna go for the what's it called? The defog on this turn in order to get rid of the Stealth Rock, and even if he does go for Scald or Hurricane, Victini will be able to take it and then knock him out with a Bolt Strike. So we are going to go right out into that Victini as he does go for that defog, and I don't want to mess around with this thing. I'm just gonna go right for a Bolt Strike. No, I'm gonna go for a sub in case he gets full parried, and in case he wanted to possibly switch out in a Mamoswine on a possible Bolt Strike. He's just gonna stay in, however, go for the Scald and be able to take it relatively well, or not take it relatively well. It's going to break my sub, obviously. However, because he has revealed that he wants to stay in, I am just going to go right for the Bolt Strike, as he actually reveals to be Wakanberry. So good prep on his part. He will be able to take this Bolt Strike after the Wakanberry goes off. Pelipper has good natural defenses. He's then going to go for a Scald, however, because of Victini's natural bulk, he will not be able to knock me out. And we can possibly knock him out with the next Bolt Strike. However, I really thought he would save this thing, because he has Kingdra that I figured he would want Rain for. Not only that, but me going for Zen Headbutt, he also has the chance to flinch, he has the chance to get parried, and I thought there was a very good chance he'd go out in a Mamoswine trying to gain offensive pressure onto me, as well as being able to save his Pelipper for the Rain, because I feel like his Rain is very important. So I didn't agree with that play at the time. However, that's going to change in a little bit. Regardless, he's going to go for the Roost as I get up my Stealth Rock. I allowed this Pelipper to get kind of healthy, but I really want my Rocks up. They're going to be very useful for whittling down that Mamoswine, as well as a few other things on his team. So, it kind of sucks letting him get back to full health, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. And what I can do now is actually just go for the Roar, get him out of there, make him take Rocks damage on the way back in the next time he comes in. And we are unfortunately going to force him out into Kingdra, which is not something that I happily switch into. However, I do have my specially defensive Licky Licky on my side of the field that I will be able to go into, take the Draco Meteor, protect, get some leftovers back, and I will be able to survive the next Draco Meteor, assuming he's not like modest spec, which he could be, but I should be able to take even 2 spec Draco Meteors. Except for the part where he crips me. So this is what I was talking about, or what I mentioned earlier. I didn't agree with his play at the time, because I was like, he needs Rain for the Kingdra. This wasn't a Swift Swim Kingdra, this was Sniper Scope Lens. Granted, there was only a 12% chance that he was going to crit me on that turn, and that crit really sucks because I need my Licky Licky to heal the Pokemon on my team. You know, this Pokemon is whatever. Here, going for Hawlucha, I'm going to set up a Swords Dance, because if he gets full parried on that turn, I actually just win the game, because Mamoswine's Ice Shard wouldn't be able to knock me out, and I could have swept the rest of his team after going for Sky Attack and getting my Unburden. But as you can see here, he doesn't get parried, he's going to hit me with a Surf, and then he's going to send in his Pelipper, which will go down to 2 attacks, the High Jump Kick followed by the Acrobatics, which is currently unboosted, but at +2 it will be able to knock out the Pelipper from where it's at. Now, he has to send in his Mamoswine, he has to click Ice Shard here, there's absolutely no other play he can go for, he cannot risk his Mamoswine here, and he cannot risk this Hawlucha sweeping the rest of his team, so I'm just going to go into Swampert, because I feel like this is a very good check to his Mamoswine, and I was thinking Freeze Dry was a possibility, but I was like, nah, there's no way he would be running Freeze Dry. He's probably Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, and then no, he's got Freeze Dry. And we're gonna die, which sucks. If I were more specially defensive, I could have lived that. However, that wasn't a roll. He knocked me out 100% of the time. I could have doubled out into Klefki to scout, but I needed my Klefki healthy, and as you can see here, it's not very healthy, and I kind of need to keep it. He actually is going to switch out into his Scolipede. I predict him to predict me to go for Magnet Rise, so I'm going to go for Flash Cannon, as I was hoping he would go for an Ice move. But as you can see here, I actually just ended up going for, he actually just ended up switching out into Scolipede. Not exactly sure what he was predicting there, but I'm okay with it, because now I can go for the Magnet Rise, thinking I'm going to dodge an Earthquake, but he actually has the Aqua Tail, which he unfortunately misses, so we're getting a little bit of revenge hacks here. And now, I believe without the Rain Up, I am a little bit out of range of Aqua Tail. That might not be true, but he's actually going to go for a Swords Dance here, which is really good for me, because I opted to go for Flash Cannon, and this Flash Cannon will be able to knock out his Scolipede, which is really nice. So that Aqua Tail miss, definitely big. However, he did kind of crit and completely destroy my Licky Licky, which was essential to my team, because I needed it to basically wish everything back up to health. But regardless, that's Pokemon. What I'm going to do here is just go for the Thunder Wave on this Kingdra. Paralyze it, make it so that I can beat it 1v1 with the majority of my team. However, as you can see here, he's actually going to reveal the Agility. And this really sucks for me, because, especially with the Para nerf, him going for Agility basically brings him back to neutral speed. And now, what I'm going to do is go out into my specially defensive life score, basically because I don't have anything else to take it on, and if I can get this thing paralyzed a couple times in a row, I can kill it, and because I'm specially defensive, I can take one Surf. So I'm just going to go for the Earthquake here. We actually do get very lucky, and he does get full parried on that turn, and as you can see here, he's actually going to get fully parried once again, as I'm going to go for the Earthquake. And as you're going to see here, that's actually going to be enough damage to knock him out. So we did get our revenge hacks. I don't know if it necessarily makes up for the fact that my Licky Licky's dead, because I really needed Licky Licky for his team, but you know, it is what it is. He prepped well for it, and you know, he was able to kill it regardless. And he did have focus energy, so he would have been able to set it up on the Licky Licky anyway, after toxicking it, granted, but still. This Ferrothorn's going to come in. I'm just going to taunt it, preventing it from doing whatever, and I figure, okay, maybe he'll go for a knockoff or something, but he actually has no attacking moves on this Ferrothorn, which is kind of funny, which means he is now going to go for Struggle, as I will just be able to spam Earthquake. And what's really nice is he doesn't have a ground switch in, so I'm thinking, okay, he's sending his Ferrothorn, he's probably just going to let it die. Let me go out into my Klefki and start spike stacking so that I can possibly whittle down his Mammothline to the point where it will die. However, he instead decides to go out into his Meloetta, revealing leftovers, so I'm assuming he's something along the lines of like a physically defensive, subcom mind Meloetta. Definitely makes sense, he could have taken the Earthquake relatively well. But what I'm going to do here is go back out into my Gliscor, because I don't want him setting up Calm Minds. I need to taunt it if he is sub-Calm Mind. He does go for the sub here, so I can go for the taunt on the following turn. I'm hoping if he's physically defensive, maybe I can outspeed him. However, as you can see here, he ends up outspeeding me. And as you can see, he's going to crit me with a Psychic after I go for taunt, or before I go for taunt, which means that now I am forced to go for Roost, and I cannot go for Earthquake in order to break this thing sub. So as you can see here, we're going to get a little bit of Poison Heal. I have to go for Roost here. There's no other play I can make, because otherwise he will 2 KO me from the range I'm at. So he's going to go for another Psychic. This time, he's going to get the special defense drop, meaning that Gliscor doesn't beat this Meloetta 1v1 anyway. So I'm going to go for the Roost. Going to get myself back to like 90% of HP after the Toxic Heal. It's going to go off. And this is not a great situation for me. I basically have to sack something here. I'm going to allow him to hit me with the Psychic again here, just because after the after I switch out and I get rid of the Sped F drop, I'll be able to take one more Psychic and then Roost up. Obviously I'm playing with possible Sped F drops and whatnot, but that's basically the play I have to go for. Break a sub with Earthquake, get a little bit of Poison Heal back, be out of range of Psychic when I come back in, and now basically what I have to do is go out into my Klefki. I didn't think he would sub there just because he'd be wasting some of his own HP. Instead, he's going to go for a Psychic, and what I can do now is actually go for a Thunder Wave on this thing, making it so that my Gliscor can outspeed him, so that I can taunt him before he gets up a sub, or before he goes for Calm Mind, or whatever he wants to do. As you can see, the taunt's going to wear off. I'm going to Thunder Wave, and we missed the Thunder Wave as he goes for a Substitute. And that really sucks, because that basically means that my Klefki can't touch this thing. I have Flash Cannon as my only attack, that's going to take at least 2 to break this thing sub. Hacks was in his favor, and then it kind of shifted towards me, and now it's just going right back into his favor again. Flash Cannon is going to come out. Thankfully, this one will be able to break his sub, which means that it will be able to go for a T-Wave on the following turn. No, just kidding, doesn't break its sub. It'll break its sub on the next turn, though. Thankfully, he didn't have too much Spedef investment, otherwise that would have been a very, very big problem for my team. Oh, get out of here, Discord. That could have been a very big problem for my team if he ended up being a little bit more Spedef. I'm not even sure if Flash Cannon was guaranteed to break its sub after 2. I know Meloetta has great Spedef. Thankfully, we're going to be able to take that Shadow Ball, and we will be able to go for the Flash Cannon in order to break its sub. And then what we can do is go for a T-Wave, slowing this Meloetta down, making it so that my Gliscor can outspeed it, taunt it before it's able to get up a sub, possibly get some para hacks going my way so that I have a chance into this game. But if you haven't noticed, at this point, Mammothline is a gigantic problem to my team. Like, there is essentially nothing, there's very little I can do in order to beat Mammothline at this point. Also, if you'll excuse me, I need to speed this up again. Sorry about that. Speed 1.5, there we go. Okay, so he's going to send in his Ferrothorn, as I am going to go for the Thunder Wave. Smart on his part. He knows how important Meloetta is, and he knows that he does not want it to be paralyzed. However, him going into Ferrothorn does allow me to start setting up spikes, which can be very, very useful for me, because once again, the only way I really have to deal with his Mammothline is spike stacking against it, so that it kills itself with Life Orb as well as the hazards damage. Because other than Mammothline, my team's doing great, but with Mammothline, it completely screws me. Like, as soon as he gets a free switch into Mammothline, I basically lose at this point. So I basically have to spam spikes. He's going to make the smart play and not go into it, because I could potentially go for Flash Cannon on a ballsy prediction, and if I do that, then I actually end up winning the game, because Hawlucha would have been able to win at the point. But what I'm doing is, thankfully, as he's getting paralyzed, I'm going to be able to gain Leftovers recovery back, which is really nice, because he's going to be unable to hit me with the Leech Seed. And at the range of HP that I'm at, I actually do have a good chance to live Icicle Crash from Mammothline, so I can at least maybe make a 50-50 between me going for Flash Cannon and me going for Magnet Rise. Here, as you can see, he is going to hit the Leech Seed. You know, that's fair enough, but what's nice is, at least at this point, you know, I have my spikes up, and when his Mammothline comes in, it's going to be taking the rocks, and it's going to be taking all the spikes damage, and maybe I can switch around it to the point where Life Orb will be able to kill him. As you can see here, I'm going to go out into my Gliscor. Another possible way I can win is I roost up and get back to full with my Gliscor, and then I think I have a very small chance to live Ice Shard from the Mammothline, so I can force him to go for Icicle Crash and maybe play for a miss. Again, it's not looking good for me at this point. That Mammothline is just a serious problem for the rest of my team. I have Gliscor, I have Hawlucha, and I have the Klefki. It completely bodies me at this point. Ice Shard is all he needs at this point, as well as Earthquake. He's actually going to start setting up his own spikes on this turn, which don't really help him all that much. It's only going to really be hitting the Klefki. But if he can get enough spikes up, then I believe Klefki dies on re-entry, meaning that I won't be able to get Mammothline to die to Life Orb. Or at least I won't be able to do enough damage to the Mammothline with the hazards, so that I'll be able to beat it 1v1. But, you know, there's really not much else I can do at this point. I'm going to roost up with Gliscor. Like I said, if I get to full health, I believe I'm out of range of Ice Shard. I could be wrong about that, but I believe I'm just barely out of range of Ice Shard. Regardless, this scene is going to take a little bit of time. Basically, I can't switch out in anything. Like, I need Hawlucha, and I didn't want him to go for Psychic. He's actually going to go for Shadow Ball. I'm not sure why he didn't click Psychic at this point, because it would have knocked out my Klefki from where it's at, and it would obviously hit this Gliscor harder. I'm not sure if he was trying to get the extra chance to get a Split F drop. If so, there isn't really a need to. Like, he can just kind of spam Psychic and get as much damage off onto me, force me to roost, allow him to get some Leech Seed recovery and whatnot. But as you can see here, he's going to click Shadow Ball once again. Had I known he was just going to keep spamming Shadow Ball, I could have gone out into Hawlucha and then knocked this thing out with a Sky Attack. But again, I really didn't want to risk him. I really didn't want to risk him going for the Psychic and just being able to knock me out. But I guess maybe even then, like, it wouldn't have helped, because I go into Hawlucha, I kill this thing, he goes Mammothline, he clicks Ice Shard 3 times and wins the game. Regardless, he's going to go for the Psychic on this turn now. He's not going to be able to knock me out, and we are going to be able to knock out this Meloetta, which is really, really nice. As you can see there, Meloetta goes down. That's great news for me. But again, he does have his Mammothline. And now, basically, Mammothline's going to come in, and it's going to click a few buttons, and then he's just going to clean up the rest of my team. The only chance that I have is that if Klefki lives this Ice Shard, and then he dies to a couple Life Orb hits, and I'm able to send in Hawlucha and sweep. So as we're going to see here, due to the hazards damage, there's absolutely no planet in which Klefki is going to be able to live a Life Orb Ice Shard from Mammothline. Even if I were physically defensive, it wouldn't have mattered. Klefki goes down, he takes some Life Orb damage. And here I'm going to go Hawlucha. I'm like, maybe I can bait the, I don't know, maybe I can bait something, and I'm just going to double back out in the Gliscor. There's no point for what I did there. There was no point. It didn't matter what I did. He's just going to click Ice Shard again, and he's going to be able to knock me out. And then we just have to send in our Hawlucha as his Mammothline. It's still relatively low, but again, all he has to do is click Ice Shard and win this game. And as you can see, that's what he's going to do. He's going to click Ice Shard. He's going to knock out my Hawlucha. We are going to go down, and then his Mammothline is going to live on a sliver of HP, and he is going to beat us 2-0. So, extremely, extremely hacksy game. Extremely hacksy game on both sides. Again, I feel like I 100% needed Licky Licky this game. Like, I needed to heal the majority of my team. I needed to heal that Victini up, although I couldn't early on. This game went wrong with me over-predicting a little bit in the early game, and with that crit on Licky Licky. Even though the hacks kind of shifted back into my favor and I was able to get multiple pairs in a row, I wouldn't have needed those pairs if the crit just didn't happen on Licky Licky. Like, Licky Licky was just a super essential part of my team. If I had Licky Licky healthy, I could have kind of dealt with the Mammoth-Line a little bit better. I wouldn't have been able to deal with the Meloetta based on the set it was, but I would have been able to deal with the Ferrothorn, the Scolipede. It was just super important for my team, and unfortunately it got crit. Granted, he was Skill Cleanse, so it was a little bit higher of a chance to get the crit, and he did end up getting it, and like I said earlier, he could have focused energied on it, but that crit in that exact moment was really, really bad for me. But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Next week we're going up against Eric, coach of the Seattle Onyx, so I hope you're looking forward to that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you then.